The next strategy is, what questions do you have? And the aim of this strategy is to help learners to connect to the text through generating questions. Often teachers rely on the typical form of questioning where the teacher asks the learners questions and the learners provide the answers. This strategy flips it on its head and allows the learners to generate their own questions to ask either the teacher or their friend next to them. So when the learner is faced with a difficult piece of text, they will begin to ask and answer questions about this information to help them create meaning and understanding. Asking questions promotes a reflective thinking and therefore promotes a deeper level of understanding. Some key questions you can ask in your classroom to prompt learners to develop this reading strategy is to ask them, what questions do they think that this chapter will answer? What questions do they have already? And an activity called Test Your Partner. So let's work through an example teaching idea. The piece of text in front of you is about photosynthesis, dinner time for plants. I'm not going to read the text to you, but I'm going to focus on the key questions instead. The first key question is, what questions do you think this chapter will answer? So you only read the heading of the information to the learners: photosynthesis, dinner time for plants. And then you allow them to think about this heading and then ask them to write down one or more questions that they think that the information will answer. An example response from the learner could be, I think the information will answer the question, what do plants eat? Or where do plants get their food from? So before they've even given the information to read and understand, they're already being promoted into that active understanding zone. They're engaged and they're ready to connect with the text. And the next question could be, what questions do you have? So read the information to the learners and allow them to read it on their own. Then ask learners to write down any questions that they would like answered about the information. Remember, there is no right or wrong question for the learner to come up with. And a sample response could be, why can plants make their own food but animals can't? Or if a plant lives in the dark, would it still survive? So these questions are all intriguing and generates interest for the learner with the text because they're in this active understanding zone. And this reading strategy is so effective when it comes to giving learners a boost or a push to get them to start making connections with the text in front of them and to really form a deeper understanding about what they are reading.